Hi, everybody, and welcome to the next in our series of short interviews we're running as we lead up to the national conference this year in Canberra. I'm delighted to be joined today by Howard Edelman. Howard is the General Counsel and Company Secretary for A2B Australia. And probably as importantly, and maybe more importantly for our conversation today, is also the Vice President of ACC New South Wales and is currently the General Counsel of ACC Australia. Howard, welcome, and thank you for taking the time to join me today. And maybe a few words to open the conversation, a little bit about you, maybe.
Thanks, Chris, and thanks very much for picking me to be one of the spokespersons for ACC. As you probably know, or as many people may not know, my history with the ACC goes back almost to 1995. So I am probably one of the longest members of in the ACC or ACLA as it was known in those days. And I initially had used ACC not as a basis to learn about how in-house works, but as a basis to try to gain work from in-house lawyers, because I started back in 1995, joining the ACC, working for Skadden Arps, trying to drum up business from companies that did work in the United States. And ACLA ACC, especially here in Australia, was a powerful organization from a one-stop shop that I could gain access to hundreds and hundreds of general counsels and various lawyers who might need the services of U.S. law firms. So initially, my interaction with the ACC was more from a supplier basis. So to the extent that this video is going to be watched and used by any sponsors out there, I can wholeheartedly attest that the ACC does fulfill its obligations and its kudos about what it promises to delivering for sponsors the access to a wide breadth of in-house counsels and specifically general counsels. But more recently, my real involvement with the ACC has stemmed back from about 2017, when Justin Cost, who was a former president of the ACC, tapped me on the shoulder to join the ACC New South Wales committee. And I started just as a normal committee member, just sitting back and listening to learn about what the organization was about. Then I joined the social committee, and I helped formulate great things like our art crawls and our trivia nights and Christmas parties and things like that. And so initially, my primary takeaway from the ACC is like, wow, this is a great, fun organization. All it does is throw a bunch of parties, and I'm just in one fuzzy morning after another because there were so many fun things going on. But as I was more and more involved, I began to see the benefit of joining all the continuing legal education programs that ACC would run, joining the various roundtables and delving deeper into the CLEs, and then slowly but surely, once or twice a year, going to the in-house counsel day on the New South Wales level, and then going to the in-house counsel day on the national levels, which sort of brought all those things together of the social, the CLE, and ultimately the network aspect of ACC. And the thing that I love about ACC is that those conferences are just a one-day culmination event of things that the ACC delivers 365 days a year to its various members, which is the opportunity to have social events, to network with your peers, to find out the latest and greatest, and really to just get support and help on legal matters that you wouldn't necessarily know where to ask. What I love about the conference is that it just brings together everything that we do on a daily basis and sort of blows it up in one day. And the benefits you get on that one day are an amazing window into what the ACC has to offer to its members 365 days a year. So.
My experiences are much smaller than yours at the moment. I was similar, coming from a sponsorship background. I was in Brisbane last year. I was absolutely blown away with the conference, and I'm super excited, as I said, about looking towards this one in Canberra. You've been around, Howard, if I can use that expression, many years longer than me in the ACC. Which conference for you sort of, I say, stands out and sort of what made it just that special event?
Look, I mean, it's probably going to be the last one in Brisbane because um, because that was the culmination of probably about since 2017. I think the one in Brisbane was what in 2020. Sorry, I'm thinking Adelaide, not sorry, not Brisbane. Adelaide, and it's really just going back just a little bit before COVID, and it showed me where I'd come along on the ACC journey, because at that point in time I had made so many connections with various sponsors, with various law firms, with various members in New South Wales, with various members in the ACC in other jurisdictions, that it was really, I was able to visibly see what, on a normal day-to-day basis, you're dealing with the ACC just on your general, local, regional, state basis. But in a national conference, it shows you how much bigger it is. And I've not had the benefit of going to one of the global conferences, and I'm assuming that that's even more tenfold. So it really is just the buzz of putting names to faces, to connecting all these dots of all these people that you've been dealing tangentially in and out, throughout the years, all of them there in one spot. So to be perfectly frank, it's a lot of fun, because I mean, I know being a lawyer I hope most of us all have things to do besides being a lawyer, but it is nice it is still nice to be able to, be in an association where you're amongst your own elk. And so it's great to see all your colleagues, and even if they're not lawyers per se, there are people there who their role in life is to make you a better lawyer, through the various sponsors and the various, the suppliers of events. So it's just great to see them all in one spot. And the longer that you've been, the more in depth your network becomes. It's like going almost, to a wedding or to a reunion, and it's really it besides, the seminars where, yes, to be honest, those seminars could be held almost anywhere on any single day, whether it's virtual or real. But the ability to combine the learning, the network, and the social, over a 2-day period, in for people that you only get to see once a year, twice a year over that 2-day event, it's really a great buzz, to be frank.
Yeah. Look, I couldn't agree more off the back of my experiences last year. So look, sights turn to Canberra. We're in Canberra at the end of October. Again, we've got a great agenda. We've got a great program. We've got some fantastic awards being presented, as we always do. What are you most looking forward to about this year's conference, Howard?
Well, I mean, two things. I think it'll, without being overly controversial, I mean, the tone, given who our keynote speaker is, and with the voice coming up, and by that point in time, I believe we'll have the results of the referendum. So it'll be, depending upon which way it goes, and I'm not going to make any statement on what my views are on the voice for the purpose of this video, but it'll definitely make for a very interesting tone about how that keynote speech is delivered, and the message, whether it's a yes or a no. So I'm actually very interested in whether the answer is yes or whether the answer is no. I think it'll be very interesting to see the juxtaposition of that answer and how the opening of the conference starts. The other thing, to be frank, that I'm very much looking forward to, this is the first year that I've actually participated in as a judge in the awards. So I'm looking forward, and I was a judge for the small team of the year, and that had over 30 applications to it. So I think I might have been a little bit tricked into being a judge for that, because I was asked to be a judge at the last minute, and a lot of the other categories do not have 30 applications that they have to go through. But the beauty of having been a leader of a small team, and both ASX and private and working for governments, is that I was able to have visibility, and understand the nuances and the issues that each one of the applications raise, and being able to judge them through my lens. So I'm sort of interested. I have no idea how the other judges voted. Everyone has their own conceptions and stuff. So I'm going to be very interested once the finalists are announced, and then subsequently to see how my view of what I see is important for a small in-house team aligns with the other judges. So that's actually something where I've never actually thought and been through that process. I'm now, having participated in the judging process, I'm very interested to, I'll be more than just a standby participant, on that evening. I'll be actually, integrally involved in the evening. So I'm very much looking forward to the awards night and to that award specifically. So.
And that awards event on that Monday night will be, as it was last year, as I think it always has been, is a great showcase event where we celebrate, some of the finest and best in-house individuals and council teams across the country. So, yeah, another fantastic night, I'm sure, in Canberra. Howard, we're almost out of time. Thank you again for your time. Any final closing thoughts around? Yeah, if there's anybody out there who is a member thinking, shall I go to Canberra? Shall I not come to Canberra? Any final words of advice or thoughts?
Look, I mean, if you've never been to a conference before, and I think that it is something that you really should think about doing, because it really is. You will find that the average person that goes to these conferences are repeat offenders, attendees. So, which says something very much about what they think about the event. So I think once you go and you see the value of it, you'll be sort of hooked and continue to go. So if there's any, so if you have the ability to go and you've not gone before, I really urge you to go, because I think I've not missed one since I've started going in 2017, and I wish that I had gone to more before then, having now been to many of them. So all I can say is, if you've not given it a try before, now's the best time to give it a try.
Fantastic. Howard Edelman, thank you very much again for your time. We look forward to seeing everybody in Canberra at the end of October, and please watch this space for our next conversation. Thanks again.
See you there, Chris.
For sure.